I will, thank you, Beth. I will call to order the CCS Executive Committee meeting on Wednesday, April 9th at 10:01 a.m. Beth, will you please call the roll?
Austin,
Here.
Bertucci. Here. Dorfman.
Here.
Viola.
Here.
Leffler.
Here.
Lemke.
Here.
Livergood.
Here.
For CCS, we have Rebecca Malinowski, Rachel Fisher, and Beth Stormford.
Thank you. Do you have any additions to the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Any public comment? Okay. And number 5 on our agenda is the consent agenda. There are 4 items for our approval today. Does anyone have anything they'd like to remove from the consent agenda?
I would like to remove item D, approval of policy updates. I just have a question on something. So,
Okay. All right. Then may I have a motion to approve items A, B, and C on the consent agenda?
so moved.
Okay, Pam and Susan.
Yep.
And Beth, can you please call the roll?
Austin,
Yes.
Bertucci.
Yes.
Dorfman.
Yes.
Viola.
Yes.
Leffler.
Yes.
Lemke.
Yes.
Livergood.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So Rebecca, how about we address the policy updates first, and then we'll go into the other new business.
Sounds great.
Okay, all right.
So as I was reading it through, I just had a question on page 14 under sick time. You've got on the 3rd paragraph, sick time must be taken at least 1 hour in length, then can be taken in half-hour increments. And then the next sentence says personal time can also be taken, but personal time is addressed under the personal time section. Should that have said sick time?
Yes.
Yes.
That was my only thing.
Thank you for catching that.
Okay. All right, well, that was easy enough.
Thank you, Pam.
Anyone else, anything related to the employee handbook updates? Okay, then may I have a motion to approve the policy updates to the CCS employee handbook?
I'm sorry.
All right, Lindsay, and we'll go Pam in a second. Okay, thank you.
Austin,
Yes.
Bertucci.
Yes.
Dorfman.
Yes.
Viola.
Yes.
Leffler.
Yes.
Lemke.
Yes.
Livergood.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, we do have several new business items, so we'll take them starting with strategic planning process update. Turn that over to Rebecca.
I don't have too much to report at this time. Long range planning is scheduled to meet next week. I owe the committee a packet. I have in your packet a summary from the planning meeting that you were all at, except Ryan, but Ryan already got the summary. Ryan and I are meeting tomorrow to do kind of a check-in and plan for the long range planning meeting. As you can see in the summary, I included both kind of the big ideas that came out of planning, as well as some other commitments on page 19 that CCS has planned. So for long range planning, I'll be putting together kind of like a potential very rough timeline of what things might look like, how long we might need for a plan, and what my initial recommendations are for the committee to discuss. One thing that came up at kind of right at the end of the planning meeting was the timeline, which we had intended to have the strategic plan ready for review and potential approval at May governing board. So if there's any feedback executive committee wants to send to long range planning on potentially bumping that to August, or not. I think either way is feasible. I think more time to review has its benefits. Also, I think it's a matter of writing down what I think we're all sort of in agreement on what the goals of the plan are. So I could go either way. If there's anything executive committee would like to send to long range for consideration, I'm happy to take note of it.
I think, Rebecca, I think it depends on what you and your team need, maybe, like, that's what I'm thinking, so.
Mhm.
Would more time be helpful to you and the team?
I'm a big believer, Lindsay, that work will fill the time that we have. So, I mean, I think that I could have it ready for the board. I also think if we had more time, we'd use it. So, I know that's not a helpful answer, but I'm very deadline driven. So, whatever the deadline is what it will be.
I'm a firm believer then of just getting it done instead of
Yeah.
dragging it out. So I would recommend May if you guys can do it.
Yeah, and I think, obviously if long range planning disagrees when they have looked at it, then of course we could still postpone.
Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's if the sooner you get it done, the better. But if we need the time, I agree with Susan's comment. Let's see what the committee thinks and get their feedback. And also, Rebecca, if you change your mind, if you talk to your staff and you're like, oh, we could use extra time. Yeah, I think it sounds like we're all pretty flexible here. But if we can get it done, there's no reason to stop doing it. Then let's get it done.
Sounds good. Were there any questions or comments on the summary? Anything anyone felt like I missed or anything?
No, I thought you did a nice job of pulling it all together because it was kind of organized chaos a little bit, but I thought you did a really nice write-up, Rebecca. So thank you. It was nice to see it kind of all, coalesced in one cohesive, form.
And again, I just want to say you and your team did a wonderful job, I think, of planning it and running the meeting. It was one of the best strategic planning sessions that I've been part of. So it's really great.
Thanks. That's very nice to hear.
All right, if there's nothing else on strategic planning, we'll go to 25-26 budget.
I'm just realizing I didn't send a document, but that's okay. The budget meeting is coming up in 3 weeks. It's long range planning and then database management and then budget and finance.
Budget and finance is April 20th.
Yeah. So we I don't have a lot to show you yet, but having this summary from long range planning will guide what next year's budget looks like. So at the last budget and finance meeting, we talked about how there will potentially be some fee increases to account for the added services that we're looking at that are coming out of long range planning. So we'll have a better idea of that. We actually got a big component of that is this data analytics tool. That is our next update. And we did get some initial pricing from Orange Boy last week. That luckily was like about where I had estimated it, / a little lower, depending on which option we go for. So Rachel and I have some more work to do on that, but I was like crossing my fingers that it wouldn't be astronomically higher than I had predicted, and it was not. So I think we're in good shape for potential modest fee increases to support that additional program. And we'll have more information on that after the meeting at the end of this month.
Great. It's very exciting. So analytics is D. Does anyone have anything on? That was what you were referring to, Rebecca?
Yeah.
So if is there anything else on that, since that was a good segue? And then we can jump back up. Okay. All right. Well, we're excited to learn more as you learn more. Okay. C is our discovery layer.
Yeah, discovery layer, we're still cruising on this project. Gayatri is working right now. She's kind of like elbow deep in reference checks and customer calls. And so we're really digging into what working with each of the vendors is like. She and I are meeting on Friday to kind of go over she's been working on synthesis, and we're going over everything together to kind of move forward with the report. We hadn't super into one change from kind of the start of the project is that we engaged 2 service providers related to Aspen. So Bywater has been kind of the big name in Aspen hosting and support for the past several years. And recently 2 members of Bywater left and formed a new company called Grove. So we did meet with both service providers as part of our analysis. So that was interesting just to see their different approach, different pricing, a lot of things. I will say that all of the tools have been performing well. I would say the Bywater demo was maybe the least inspiring and the most scattered, but all of the tools performed well in patron testing, which is why we kept them. And then they were all pretty close in performance around the staff search exercise that we did. And so we're really interested in these reference checks and customer calls to find out what it's really like working with the vendors and what those partnerships look like. So that is what's coming up.
Awesome. Okay. All right. New and potential members.
Before we get to, are there any questions
I'm so sorry.
on the analytics tool process? Sorry. There's so many things on the agenda today.
I'm just curious, Rebecca, have you received a lot of feedback from the demos, and have you been reading through it at all, or not yet?
On the discovery progress, I haven't read through it all. Gayatri's been coordinating it. We didn't get too many staff surveys back. So database management scored the rubric, and then other staff who attended were invited to fill out a more general sort of like qualitative survey. And I believe she said for each demo, the most we got for any one demo, I think she said was like 16. So it's not a ton of like non-database management staff participation, but there's some. And she said there was some good feedback in them, but yeah, I will be digging into that tomorrow to prep for my meeting with her on Thursday.
Okay, I was just curious. Because I had a couple of my staff members ask, should they give their feedback to me and I give it, or should they give it? And I told them they should give it. So I don't know.
Yeah,
if they,
yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Okay. All right. New and potential members, Vernon.
Sorry, was still on item D. Like, so that was a question on C, and then it's okay.
I'm so sorry.
The analytics tool progress is in your packet. Rachel has been taking the lead on this project, and this is her summary that I have sliced and diced a little. A big component that Rachel and a change is that for our May meeting with governing board, presenting our to be determined recommendation on whether to look at the dedicated team data site or full Savannah sites for each CCS member. So the dedicated team data site is essentially, we would just have access to like the data tools from Orange Boy. And that would really address the primary goal of the project. They have also quoted us full Savannah sites for each CCS member, which would then replace most of the subscriptions that existing Orange Boy customers have within CCS related to those marketing tools. But that would also then, for those libraries that aren't using those marketing tools, give them that new service, which could be a benefit, but also, as we just discussed at the strategic planning session, like providing a marketing tool isn't necessarily the goal of CCS. So we'll be looking at that value. We'll probably be going back to Orange Boy to ask for like opt-in pricing for the marketing as opposed to system-wide, to see if we could do a discount for those libraries that are currently using it. But we're also still working to, I would say, Rachel, that would you agree that the reference check process has been a little slow going and like
Yes.
finding, not that they're not providing references, but that many of them are specifically using the marketing tools. And so we're still in that phase. That's maybe taken a little longer than expected. So trying to find a customer that's really using all of the data options in a way that we would be has been a challenge. So I'm happy to take questions on that, and Rachel can also take questions on things I might not know. Yeah.
Hey, Rebecca, I've got a question. What's the anticipated timeline once we make a decision in terms of implementation? Because I'm also thinking about this, if we did go to the full Savannah site for each CCS member, we don't have that. We have Patron Point, but would it make sense to pivot if the price point was right? So I'm just trying to figure out in my head, like, when all this will happen, if you have any idea.
Yeah, so I mean, that would be part of our long range planning. But this would be one of our primary projects for next fiscal. So as far our anticipated timeline would include August governing board approval of like the actual contract, and then moving forward, the implementation timeline, they gave us a very wide range of months, but it would be next year. We'd be
It's
looking
not
to
fair
start
for,
it next year.
no, that's enough information. It's impossible to answer the details, but that gives me a good time frame. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on analytics? Okay, cool. New and potential members.
New and potential members. So working on the Vernon project, things are going well. I don't know if we discussed it. We wouldn't have, because it was the governing board meeting, but we did have a personnel change with Innovative on the project. So we had anticipated that we'd be working with Jerry Waddy, who's been our data services guy for all of our projects. But they are expanding the data services team, which is good because Jerry was the only Polaris data guy. But we are now working with Kate, who's been with the company for several years working on other data projects. And so she's had some success with Polaris customers, and we're working with her now. That has adjusted our mapping schedule a little bit. Nothing that will affect the overall schedule. Essentially, we're borrowing some time from the test load to dedicate to mapping, since there's a little bit of a new process there. But our anticipated go live stays the same. And Jerry is available to us and Kate for anything that we might need him for. So. And then other potential new members, I'll be attending the Wakanda board meeting on Monday, actually, as they are continuing to move forward with their application. We anticipate that they will ask for governing board approval in November to plan for a go live next year. As noted in the packet, Rolling Meadows is continuing they have it planned for this year to evaluate CCS, but we don't have any more information on that. And then I was just personally delighted that Natalie, the new director at Lake Bluff, like her first week on the job was like, can we have a meeting about CCS? So I love that excitement for consortial sharing. So as noted, they'll hope to circle back in a couple of years after they deal with some building maintenance projects. So
That's awesome.
yeah, a lot of good stuff happening.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about any of the new membership? Okay, sorry, my allergies are like getting the best of me this morning. Okay, innovative updates.
Another personnel change. We are sad to say that our existing site manager is retiring. She has been great and we've loved working with her. She is retiring in July. We're already working with our new site manager, and it's nice that they have such a significant overlap for training and knowledge sharing. So we wish Lauren all the best and we will miss her. And we are starting to work with Julia. Rachel and I met yesterday with Backstage to start work on the profiling that will happen. We anticipate sending out a wider announcement on the transition to Backstage when we have dates planned for backfile processing. So during that backfile processing time, there will be some tasks that cataloging staff will not be able to complete. And there will be other things that they can do. So we'll provide several weeks notice as well as a list of what can and can't happen. And consequences of mistakes are lost work, not stuff is broken. So we'll provide all of that in great detail as soon as we're able.
Okay. Any further questions on that? All right, and 5 more.
Yeah, Bob is working with Rachel and Kiara on our comparison dashboard, which will be part of our analysis on should we renew past our kind of 2-year commitment. We're kind of like constantly tweaking it, and then we're going to just let things go and let data collect for a few more months. We are planning to dive further into the analysis of the data as opposed to the data collection this fall, so we can have a recommendation to governing board in the first half of next calendar year, so we can give Rails plenty of notice either way. We have been struggling with this unavailable copies issue, which I can explain in more detail if you'd like, but as a result of that being an ongoing issue, Rails has extended our deeper discount into this next year, since we haven't gotten full functionality or full non-buggy functionality. So that was nice that they approached us with that rather than us having to ask.
Okay. Any questions for Masha? All right. Number 7 on our agenda is I will make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, sorry. Before you do that, if you don't want to, we don't have to,
Okay.
because
The minutes are.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have on page 34 of
Yep.
your packet, we have the our recommendations. The the minutes that we're saying to not release, we discussed at our last meeting. If you would like to discuss them, we can go into closed session, but if you don't want to review or discuss the content, we can stay in open session. But that's up to everyone here.
Okay, so on page 35, Rebecca did give us a copy of the minutes that they're suggesting that we release. And then would anyone like to move to closed session to review the items from 23 and 24 that we have opted to keep closed, or the item we've opted to keep closed?
The
24, January 24. Okay, then I will make a motion to approve and release the closed session minutes from October 16, 2024.
I'll second.
Who was that?
Pam.
Pam, me.
Thank you.
Are we ready for roll? Okay, thank you. Sorry. Austin,
Yes.
Bertucci,
Yes.
Dorfman,
Yes.
Biolik,
Yes.
Leffler,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Livergood.
Yes.
And then do we need to review the ones for
We just need
to whether or not we want to destroy them?
to destroy
them?
the,
Okay, the destruction schedule. Okay. Okay, so also on page 34, there's 3 sets of minutes that have eligible for destruction dates. If there are there any questions about that process? Okay, then I will make a motion to destroy the verbatim recordings of closed session meeting from September 13th, 2023.
Second.
Okay.
one more time. Austin,
Yes.
Bertucci,
Yes.
Dorfman,
Yes.
Biolik,
Yes.
Leffler,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Livergood.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Next on to reports, president's report. I don't have a report, so secretary.
No report.
Treasurer.
No report.
Committees and groups, we do have nominating committee on the agenda today.
So we are nearing the end of the year, so it is time for us to think about our slate for July. Pam has graciously stepped in as past president, which means she will be chairing our nominating committee. Beth, who else is on nominating? So the outgoing members, folks will comprise nominating committee.
I believe outgoing is secretary and both members at large. Is that possible?
No, because
Maybe just one.
yeah. Becky,
So I think it's just me.
Yeah. So it would be secretary, past president, and Becky as our outgoing member at large.
No
Okay,
time.
so Susan replaced Monica last
Yeah.
year, and I just didn't update to the term date. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you.
So Pam, Lindsay, and
And
Becky.
Becky.
So we'll follow up by email for those committee members. But essentially, Pam ran this show last year. She knows the drill. And we look forward to the slate. Anything Beth or I can do to assist you, we're happy to do. Pam, would you like to say anything?
I just, when do we want to have the slate finalized by, Rebecca? When do we want everyone to vote?
Ideally at the May governing board.
Okay.
So about a month from now.
Okay. I will say I may reach out to the other committee members for some additional help. I'm in the process, this very month-long process. My mom has been in and out of 5 medical facilities in
Oh,
the past
no.
month. So she's in her 5th one right now, and there's nursing home and Medicare, Medicaid. So my schedule's been a little erratic. So I may be reaching out to the committee members for a little bit more assistance, but I
Yeah,
will
happy
let
to
you guys
help.
know.
Yeah,
And
whatever you
anyway, Pam, just let us know what you did last year, and I think Becky and I
It
can
was pretty
You can handle it.
pretty straightforward, but yeah, like I said, just my schedule's been a little erratic, so I want to make sure I don't drop the ball on this. So
help. We got you.
Anything from any other committees or groups? All right, and executive director.
My report is in the packet. Are there any questions on anything we didn't cover or wasn't in the packet?
Okay, seeing no questions, going once, twice, sold. Okay. Then I will, is there anything else for the good of the order?
Did I miss it at the beginning? Did we ask the inappropriate question if Deborah had her baby and if she's okay?
Deborah is well. Deborah had her baby on the 21st. Well, I don't know. She had her baby on a Friday.
Friday. It was Friday, March 21st.
Friday, March 21st. So the date in the packet of when she started leave is wrong, but that's fine. Deborah is on leave. She had a beautiful baby girl named Florence Jo Halter. Mom and baby are both healthy, and I'm resisting all urges to text her updates about every single thing. So she is enjoying, well, hopefully she is enjoying her leave. Any lack of enjoyment is not my fault. Despite how much I want to tell her literally everything. So they are doing well.
That's great.
All right. Okay, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 10:33.
Or you can just adjourn.
Well, I'll just adjourn. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
I.
Aye.
Beautiful. We are adjourned.